I'm from here. I've been here forever. I was born and raised here. So other than 4 years of moving away to Arizona, which made it even better to come back home, made me appreciate living here even more, having left for a little bit. I'm the oldest of 8, and my siblings have lots of kids. My husband has been raised here. He's one of 6. They have a lot of kids and a lot of cousins and a lot of family going on. So between all of our extended family, aunts, uncles, we pretty much cover north of the river, south of the river, west, east. We pretty much cover Kansas City. Well, one of the reasons a lot of people stay is for the affordable housing and for the family feel and for raising a family. I think a lot of people sometimes think, well, I want to go off and do something crazy, but I want to come back here to raise my family. I've seen that a lot with a lot of young adults that I know. And half the time they plan to leave and they end up staying. They can't pull the trigger. They like it here, and they just want to stay put.
Yeah.
And you're talking about different people moving in and out. What I noticed, since I had always been here, I would meet a lot of friends. I would call them transient. They'd live a lot of different places, and a job would bring them to Kansas City, and they always intended to kind of do their time and move on.
Yeah.
I would say 9 out of 10 of those families elected to stay in Kansas City, just to stop where they were and not, keep following the corporate ladder. They decided that we want to be in Kansas City. We like it here. Our kids are happy. This is going to be our home. Well, I think it's hard to tell who's a native and who's not. I think that the natives, I consider myself a native. I don't think I stand out amongst my friends as being any different or having a leg up because I grew up here. Once you come to Kansas City and you decide this is where you want to be, and you immerse yourself in the community, it doesn't really matter how long you've been here. You could feel like you were born and raised here after living here a couple of years. I do think there's some cities where people kind of pride themselves as being raised and born and local, and anybody else is kind of a wannabe, or that's not like that here. I like all 4 seasons. I like having 4 seasons here. There's something to do year-round. I always say when I can't take summer another day, it's fall. There's something to do all the time. There's a lot of outdoor activities. There are wonderful bike trails, running and walking trails, which I access every day. I just could not imagine not having that in my life. I love it. There's indoor lots of museums. The Nelson Atkins Museum is fantastic, inside and out, just to walk around the outside, and it's free for the community to go anytime they want. Special events.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. The World War I Museum is another great place to take any family or even just to go yourself. They're beautiful parks. I mean, I could stay pretty busy. First Fridays are great in the Crossroads, and I love when they open Power and Light and put a baseball game or a football game up on the big screen, and you can get the KU fans, you can get some MU fans, K-State fans, a lot of big fun college feel around. I think we're in a good location as far as colleges go and all the rivalries. That's kind of fun to live in a city that can accommodate lots of different sports teams. The names that we see on the streets of town and the Kempers, they're still active in the community. The Halls from Hallmark, and Hallmark was started here, and the Hall family is still very active in the community. There's families that are involved in banking in all different types of industry who have been here since probably, my family came here in the 1860s and established a brewery. That started in the 1860s, and we're still around. So there are a lot of families who have been here for a long time and continue to add to the community through volunteering and obviously financial contributions, benefactors. It's new names are coming up now. It's not all the old names anymore. There's new families that are coming in and leaving their mark as well. They started in the 1860s with a brewery, and they had to go through Prohibition. They had a little rocky road, but they hung in there till I think late 1950s, so that's pretty long. They opened a Mulebach Hotel downtown Kansas City in the 1920s, and at the same time they built a stadium. Municipal Stadium is what it evolved to, but it was named Mulebach Field, where they played baseball. Eventually the Royals played there, the Athletics, and the Chiefs played football in Municipal, which was Mulebach Field. So
Gotcha.
they've left their mark, even though the name of the field changed and they don't use it anymore. And that was around 18th and Vine. So that part of the city was really pretty hopping. That was a fun place to be in, which is now coming back again. So it's kind of fun to see a cycle, see the circle of the downtown community. re-evolving. It's great, and let's not forget about the Sporting Kansas City, their beautiful stadium
Legends,
in the Legends area, and all the economic growth that has brought to this part of our city, and just it is still booming. It is still going crazy out there. So every parts that when I was growing up were just farmland, or there wasn't even a road to get there, is now booming. And they have a wonderful youth program where the kids start very young. Sporting KC, now they're building some new training facilities for youth. So they are digging deeper and deeper into the community themselves, Sporting Kansas City. And I'm proud to say that that's my team. They've done a wonderful job both professionally and for the community. That's a huge plus to me. There aren't a lot of cities who have these kind of teams. And they've built new hotels around it, so the teams can come and don't have to drive all the way across town to get to their games. If they have a 7 a.m. game, they can just be 5 minutes away from the field. It's all really convenient. That really sums up a lot about Kansas City. There's a lot of it's a very convenient city. Deanna Rose Farmstead, and you can walk around, and that's wonderful. That adds a lot to the community. And it's fantastic. And when I first would take my daughters there was no shade, there were no trees. You would just die of heat. It would be just this empty farm field with a few little buildings. And now it's just beautiful. It's just gorgeous. So it's really evolved. When I was growing up, Fiorella's Jack Stack was one of the very first barbecue places, and it was way east, more of like a mom pop kind of a building. And then they moved out to Martin City. So everyone kind of thinks they probably started in Martin City, but they had another restaurant before the Martin City. So felt to me like we were driving really far away to get barbecue. But Fiorella's were our neighbors, so we would go to the Fiorella's and have their barbecue. And now that's just huge. That's expanded. They ship food all over and anywhere you want. And so to us, that was just our neighbor's restaurant where you would just go have barbecue. I didn't realize, and there's a lot of family restaurants around here. But I got to say it's all coming back together again. It's all the family and the Kansas City, and people stay here. And the Fiorellas have really made their mark with the barbecue, and their children have followed suit, and their children's children. So that's another great success story as far as barbecue. The Marableys have had their restaurant Jasper's. They used to be at 75th and Warnell for a long time, and then when they moved south, and their family was from South Kansas City, so it was an easier little commute for them. I just don't think you can go to a better restaurant that screams Kansas City. A family member will always be there, and aside from being a great restaurant and having and serving excellent food, they are very community minded. Jasper donates so much time to the community. You see his name everywhere. You see his face everywhere. He's on TV. He's on the radio. He promotes not just his restaurant, but he promotes the community. He will help with new chefs. He's been born and raised here. He's a great example of a Kansas City success story. He's been wonderful. But I was out of town in Tulsa and went to a barbecue. And I mentioned that when I ordered, I said, well, I'm from Kansas City, so I want to see if you can impress me with your barbecue. Their head smoker brought out a plate of meats, a plate for us to sample everything before we even got our food, because he wanted to prove to me that Tulsa barbecue was as good as Kansas City, and he took it as a huge challenge. And we talked barbecue for a lot longer than I thought I would.
That's funny.
So it brings people together too. It's fun to talk food.